getting something wrong wasn't a moral failing. Treating pandemic choices as a scorecard on which some people racked up more points than others is preventing us from moving forward. So isn't this just like, I'm sorry, this is just like, it's so goddamn rich to start off with you being like, you know, your example of how your own child was so paranoid and like, you know, driven to this state of like hypochondria, like that they're like screaming, get away from me, social distancing, and you're out there just looking like an idiot wearing a bandana and on a hike, worried about who's coming close to you. And then you're going to go from that position, go, the keeping score doesn't make sense. We shouldn't keep score of who was right and who was ridiculous in this. It's like, well, I don't know. Yeah, no, I think there is benefit into looking into who got this right and who got it wrong. Why shouldn't we? Well, why should we not? I mean, why should we not? If we're talking about the, let's say we're talking about another a war that's being advocated for, should I not consider who believed Saddam had weapons of mass destruction and who didn't, and whether I value their opinion going forward? That shouldn't, like, that. There's no point in keeping a scorecard over that. There's no, of course, you were fine to keep the scorecard with the bleach thing, right? That's okay. We can still remember that. That scorecard's okay. So is it only the scorecards when you lose? I mean, it's like if you were playing a baseball game and you were down 12 runs and you go, I think we should just tear up the scorecard. I just don't think there's any point in keeping score of what happened in previous innings. And it's like, it'd be one thing if the person who's way up was saying that, but like, yeah, obviously the person who's getting blown out is going to feel that way. It's just, I don't know. It's nothing but unhelpful. Well, then, like, okay, but I mean, the people who got everything right were viciously demonized and in many cases had their lives ruined, were fired from their jobs, were ostracized by their communities, were kicked off of social media platforms, were discredited in the public. Was that any mention of that here?
She also has no interest in truth, health, or safety, and that it wasn't luck. Go back and listen to the episodes of Part of Your Problem or Run Your Mouth. It was just a little bit of critical thinking. Yeah. It was actually a lot of looking at stats, looking at actual numbers. If you listen, if you did not see through this, it's because you have a mental problem and that you're okay with being lied to. It's that you're so playing on the team of the machine that you're willing to like just accept people lying. It's the emperor wears no clothes.
Yes.
Someone was pointing out he had no clothes and you just couldn't see it. And now you're not even willing to wrap your head around the fact that there's holes in your thought process, but the holes in your thought process are fucking deadly. We're talking about lost income. We're talking about debt levels we can't sustain. We're talking about childhood education. Like, there were huge mistakes that were made. And for you just to say that the people that were right got lucky, and so we should continue to keep power in the hands of the people that were wrong on everything, I mean, that's like a deadly perspective.
Well, yeah, 100%. It's a really important point. Look, I'll say this. And if you're fair about this, if you go back, if you listen to our show or listen to your show, we were right so much more than the political establishment, both the corporate press and the medical, political establishment. And no, it was not because of luck. It was not because of luck. And it's also not because we're like super smart. That it was neither of those things. It was because we're not idiots, and we were willing to like critically look at the available information and what was going on here. And it was because we have been libertarians, we are inoculated, no pun intended, against government and media propaganda. That we're inoculated against blindly following the leaders and just always taking it as a given, as she does here in this article, just asserting as a given that there's nothing nefarious going on here. And it couldn't possibly be motivated by anything other than just a whole bunch of people who want to get the truth out to people. So that it was just the mix of that. That's not luck. That's not luck. It's a mentality. It's a mentality about trusting authority figures. That's what it's about. It was not luck.